welcome back to the Bookworms, buddy. It is Tuesday, so it's time for another Tuesday Talks. Tuesday Talks is a group that I started with my friend Janelle over at Mrs. J. Rod's Reads. Every Tuesday we discuss book-related topics, and if you'd like to come check it out, I will link to that in the description box below. So, for this week's discussion, I wanted everybody to discuss their reading experience. I first saw Janelle do this like the very beginning of last year before we even started Tuesday Talks. And I thought it would be nice for everybody in the group to share their reading experience with our viewers. So for me, the experience with books started when I was really, really young. My parents were such a great influence as far as books went. They always made sure we went to the library. I can remember my mom having stacks of books that she would get out of the library because she was a huge reader as well. My parents would also get us a lot of those sets of books that you buy. I don't even know the publishers now. I don't know what happened to those books. But we had huge, tall, they were like Disney books, but they weren't Disney. And they had just different stories on Cinderella and Rapunzel and all that. And these great, big, huge, beautifully illustrated books. And then we had these other books that looked kind of like encyclopedias, but they weren't. They were just stories, like Black Beauty, which was my favorite. I mean, there were just all kinds of different stories in that, old classics that you don't hear a whole lot of people talking about today. I don't know what happened to those either. I'm guessing my mom ended up selling them at some point. I don't know. But, you know, they would always make sure we had a lot of reading material. There was also the Book of Knowledge, which was another set of books. They were kind of like encyclopedias, but I think they just told more of a story about whatever the topic was. But we always had stuff to read, and I'm so thankful that my parents introduced us so well to books. And I always think that I just can't believe that there are people who don't like to read. I can't wrap my mind around that idea. But it happens. I've got two of my own kids that don't like to read, and I would have thought that my influence would have gotten them to want to read, and it just didn't happen that way. Out of my sisters, I think all of us actually like to read. You know, some more than others, like me. I think I read more than any of my sisters read. And I want to be that same influence on my kids. And I only have one of my kids, my oldest daughter, who actually reads. She reads a lot. Like, she's kind of built up to that. She didn't used to read as much as she reads now. And same for me. I've read all of my life, but not as much as I've read in the past, I don't know, 5-6 years. I've really started reading a lot of books. I think it's so important to teach our kids about reading and instill in them the love of books so that they can have something to enjoy. It's just such an outlet, and it's so much enjoyment for me to, you know, be able to pick up a book and read it and say, wow, that was great, or, you know, it works the other way too, where, ooh, that wasn't so good. But my experience with reading has just been fantastic. I can't even complain, you know, about that. I can't say that I was never taught about books, because from a young age, you know, since we learned to read, and in class, you know, in school, I took a class called Great Books. And of course, it was required books. You know, you couldn't just go in there and say, hey, here's the book I want to read. They had picked us books to read. And I remember one of them for sure was In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, which was a crime book. And I don't remember much about it now because, you know, that was a long time ago. True crime books can be really good, and I don't remember what my thoughts were on that, if I liked it or what, but I love mystery. My mom, I think, is the one that instilled that into me about mystery, and I love horror. Horror and mystery are my two favorite genres, but I've, you know, lately really been opening myself up to more. Like, I read more young adult than I used to read now. I'm enjoying historical books more now than I used to. Classics, you know, the last two classics I read, which was To Kill a Mockingbird and Fahrenheit 451, and neither one of them really, you know, neither one of them really grabbed me. So, yeah. But my experience, like I said, has been great. And I can't complain. My parents did fantastic on that. I'm trying to instill this into my own kids who, you know, my son is now an adult and he doesn't read. And my youngest daughter is a senior this year. And she just, you know, she'll read a book a year, maybe, if I'm lucky. She just has to find that book that she really likes, and then she can speed through it. But it's got to be something that's really interesting. Otherwise, she won't even think about picking up a book. So I'm thankful that my oldest daughter is a reader, and we can discuss books. We like a lot of the same things. So she reads more YA than I, and I read more adult. But, you know, we have shared some of those, that plane of YA and some of the books that we've both read. So that is good. But what have your guys' experience been with reading? Have you had a good experience with reading? Were you taught at a young age about books? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. Thanks guys for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.